responsibilities oversee the sort of one of the things I oversee is like course selection process. Whereas our timetabler and Kmart guru is the person who really is the brains behind it all. And in the last number of years, we've always been using Kmart, the Kmart facility, to do our course selection process for all our students, all right? And we want to know more about your product so that we could possibly, we don't start our course selection process till term 3. That's when students actually start choosing. So we've got to have everything set up by term 2. So we just sort of thought, well, let's learn more about what this system's all about to sort of see, should we be swapping over and adopting that for this year?
Perfect. Okay, so that makes sense. I know the camera portal, well, I actually write that for them, so I know exactly how it functions, what it does, and how it works. And from the student, it's easy because it's just a grid of subjects they can pick.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of information that you, your HODs or HOFs or HOLLOs can put around those subjects and things like that. So we're like the pretty version of the Kmart portal with more functions. So let me go through that. Okay, so if I get my mouse in the right spot, you've got your staff dashboard, which you're slowly getting used to and using for other things, and that doesn't change for SchoolPoint. There will be an icon SchoolPoint for staff on the side that gets added for students and caregivers. So when it comes time for course selection, or whenever you're ready, we turn on the ability for them to start browsing the courses. Okay, so let's get into there. So it brings up a dashboard. Jamie's a full admin, so he can see all the things that are around there, not just course selection, but we do parent-teacher conferences, assessment calendars, and things like that. So when you're, now Anna, you're part of maths, looking at your email signature. So if you were head of maths, your permissions here might be different. And when you come into the course selection area, you would see view courses by learning area here, and you would just see here the math subjects. So the permissions are granular that your head of maths or whoever you assign to the maths learning area can just edit their own courses. And I'm going to pick on maths today because I can't do it, but obviously you guys can. Now, what we see here is a list of all your courses, and then the course codes, which are the important part of when it comes back to Kmart. So we're going to get all the students that pick 11MAL and push that into Kmart against their record. If I think about how that's going to look, when we write that back, we write that into the setup for 2025 against each student. So get out of the forums, how that looks, student changes. Our data is all fictitious, so don't really worry about it. We've got their subjects. And when we're looking at the 2025 data, it will write in. And you've got the option of whether the subjects write into the 1 to 20s or the 80s or a combination of, and their backup subject will write in there as well. So it's really easy from that. Okay, so first thing, tell me a little bit about, so let's pick current level 1 students going into level 2. At level 2, how many subjects would they pick, including compulsories?
There are no compulsories. So going into level 2, so they choose a total of 6 year-long courses.
Perfect. So what we do in the settings is we have lots of settings, but one is our course selection settings. And per year level, we turn on the number of courses they pick, whether they're picking backups, and when each year level can pick. Some schools stagger course selection. You know, we might start, especially in the first year, we're just going to get our level 1s to pick this week. I'll start our level 2s next week and close it off and on and on. And you'll see, I know the next thing that says, well, we're a 9 to 13 school. Why have you got year 8s? So you can actually get your pre-enrolls to come in and pick the year 9 options through the system as well. That all ties in smoothly. Right, so let's go back down. We'll find here first thing I need to do is tell the system we're going to be picking for 2025. That makes sure all the rules are right. Then we go down and find, and I'm going to stick with our current year level ones, and this updates in a moment. We're going to turn on course selection because we'll go through that quick test. We're going to say that when they're year 12, so this will be level 2, they're picking 6 courses. Is that what you said, Tony?
Yes.
Cool. And would you, in the past, get them to pick that alternate or backup subject?
Yeah, they pick up, they state their backup as part of this process. They just choose sort of one.
Cool. So we can have any number, whether it's none or all the way up to 8. So we can go 2 in this example.
Sure.
Then what they'll do, they'll go through, they'll pick the 6 subjects, they'll pick their 2 backups, they'll drag and drop the priority, right? I really, really, really want to do level 1 maths and level 2 maths with stats, level 2 biology, etc. in my order 1 through 6. If they're all
the priority for us, the priority listing is really important for us because we state very clearly that if we've got oversubscribed courses, it is their priority listing that we will use to figure out how we weed out the excess numbers.
Yep, perfect. So we've got, we'll go into that, but basically they'll drag and drop their top 6 priority, they drag and drop their backup 1 and 2, and that's why I like 2. It never hurts to have more, but it's always harder to go, right, you've got to go back and pick another subject. But actually that's really easy in this system. Okay. So you pick your numbers per year level, and that means at different year levels, juniors, you might have 5 compulsory subjects and an option for each term, and that would be 9. So you do that. So it's pretty easy.
So for compulsory subjects, we can do it so they don't actually have to select them.
Yes.
Because, so they're only choosing their options, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. So if level 1 maths standard was compulsory for every year 10 going into level 1 student, we'd set that as a compulsory in the system. Now, some schools will just ignore that completely and they'd only be picking the ones they need to pick. The problem there is for those really engaged students and caregivers, they'll come into the system, they'll start picking their options, they'll be like, why can't I pick level 1 maths? Where is it? I can't even see information about it. But by having it compulsory, it's pre-selected, they can see, right, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
Yes.
And now I'm picking these. So it's really worth it. And the schools that ignore me on that advice regret it and then come back the next year and then change it and do that every time. Right. The first time a student logs on, when we enable it, we're going to ask them their leaving intention. And again, this is per year level. So for all your juniors, you'd put them default to returning. But for seniors, you'd mark them that they have to pick their intention. And then if they indicate that they're leaving, we don't let them pick courses. Now, we can override that rule, and you can override it on an individual student basis. But we capture that. It means you can't get them on the fence. I'm either leaving or I'm staying. And if I'm staying, I'm picking courses.
Can we have a variety of options with that leaving destination? Because what we have at the moment is they choose, every student chooses from a list of, I'm definitely returning, I'm probably returning, I may be returning, I am not returning. And because some of them don't know exactly at that stage of the year. So so this system requires them to make a hard and fast decision.
It's a hard decision. So if they're going to return, if they're on the fence, pick subjects. Because if they're on the fence and they don't pick subjects and then they come back, well, they're stuck. But they've got a notes area around, they can put, well, I've picked these, but.
So
there's lots of communication ways to do it. But if they indicate they're leaving, I'll open another tab here. What you then can set up is my leaving destinations, which is leaving intention settings here, load in my default options. It brings up a drop down of where are you going? Another school, apprenticeship, employment, and you can control those destinations. One school might be Wollaston. They put in all the all the tertiary providers, so all the universities and things. So they're actually really specific on where they're picking. So it's really easy for a student to pick, right, I am coming back, I'm leaving, and I'm going to Hornby. Why you want to go to Hornby, I don't know. But
so, and if they select other, there could be, is there a way that they can sort of jot down that explain what that other means?
Yeah, so let me jump into my demo school. And I can log on to the student. I can show you how that looks without any data getting broken. Here. Yep. Forgot what I'm doing for a minute there. Here we go. Continue. Okay, so we'll go in and I'll find a student here. Look, I've got Joy up here. So from an admin, and you can do this within yours, you've got student search. You can search a student. You can see straight away we get some stuff from Kmart, from your example, and we see that Joy's already marked the returning. And as an admin, you can override it here. But I'm going to open that in an incognito and show you the student view. So it's already set, so it's straight into there. If it wasn't set, it would bring me to this screen here where I've got to enter my reason. And here I'm going to go, right, I'm going to go to another high school, Hornby. And they write this message and that all saves against it. And then where it goes next and what that message is. Or if I pick builder, then it's going to ask me, so whatever customized options and descriptions, you can control that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, good.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so let's get back to this. So we'll set that, and we'll go through here and we'll set that at later date for each year level so that all your levels are right. And I'm going to turn it on so we can get in there and have a look. The last part is line selection. And in your first year, I recommend leaving this off. And in fact, for most schools, we leave this off. What this is you'd set up, this is almost like your Kmart way of doing it. You'd set up that level 1 MAL, I forget what the name of that one was, runs in line 1 with this teacher for level 2 students and runs in line 4 with this teacher. And what that means is you've predefined your timetable lines. Yep, and when the students pick it, great, they've actually got to indicate, right, I'm going to do this in level 1. Oh, I've already got arts and photography in line 1. I'll have to pick it in line 4. Oh, but I really want to do this. So it's resolving conflicts. Some schools will go and do one round of course selection. And it's going to do her magic. She's going to sort out all her lines and then come back in here and set the lines and get students to go and resolve conflicts. That's a lot of work, but a little better. But in most cases, we'll leave that
exactly off. That's what we do through Kmart at the moment. So that in term 3, they make their choices. Based on those choices, we then formulate the lines.
Yeah.
Then as a result of that, we go back to them very early in term 4 and say, you've got a clash. And we sort of put some correspondence out to them that explains what their clash is. We give them a copy of the lines and we go, now resolve your clash. So then they go back in and change their options. And we've done that over the last 3 years, and boy, has that saved us a hell of a lot of time. And the kids are very savvy. They understand lines and clashes very quickly. So we'd like to have that option continued. Yeah.
Perfect. So you can do that within this. So you sort out your lines, you come back, you stick them in lines. Yep. You can even put a limit on the lines. So we can only do 26 in this class, but this teacher's, this is a first year teacher, so actually limits 24, where this is an experienced teacher that can handle a 30 student class. I don't know the size of the school or with that.
Can you remove the teacher names?
Because that's never visible to the student. That's your side. Yeah, nice, absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so this setup around that. There's also things like, I forget where it is. What have we got? Line setup will turn on so I can show you. You can have prerequisites on courses, which we'll come to. And you can have the ability that if a student doesn't meet the prerequisites or a class is full or whatever, they can request an exemption. So it's like going into a waiting list. So you'd be able to turn that off or on globally.
Yeah, we just have what we call recommendations, not prereqs. So we basically just remove all obstacles for the students, but we state a recommendation to sort of identify, hey, this is the level of learning that you should have to be able to survive in this course, so that they're making realistic choices. And also it's indication to the families as well, coming into level 2 algebra, you should have achieved this level in year 11, but we're not going to stop you from doing it, but be very aware our expectations is you're already at this level.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. We've got the field for that, which I call soft prerequisites. So you should have. We've also got the ability for hard prerequisites, except not based on results. Because as you said, you're doing this start of term 3. They haven't sat half their internals and none of their externals. We couldn't do it on results.
No.
I'd just like to clarify that one up front, because that's always been a question. Right, don't worry about that part. We'll come back to that. Default class size. Right. What we can do is we can show students a list of courses they meet the prerequisites for. For you, because you're not refining down, it's just going to show them all the courses. So I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And we have the ability here that by default, students go in and make the selections, and the caregivers can log on and see what the students have done. They can approve it, they can write a comment, both optional, or they can ignore it completely. But they can't make changes on behalf of.
Right.
You can make it that both the student log on and the caregiver can make the selections. Most schools go with that. One school I know of has made it that the caregiver makes, actually two schools that made it. The school that really made it, that paid for us to implement this, used it the first year and have never used it in the 8 years since. The other school, they get their students to go in, and it's a boarding school, to go in and favorite the courses that they want. And then they get the caregivers to come in and make those selections. A lot of helicopter parenting at that school overall.
I did. Yeah, no, it would be a both school for us. Yep.
Cool. All right. Now, the reason I like students to do it, because caregivers can do it. And what they do, as soon as they approve a course, it locks it for the student. So if Anna was the student, she went through and picked what she thought Mum wanted her to do. Mum came in and approved 5 out of 6. Anna can only go and change the 6th one. So it's sort of like a locking thing. Anna can't sneak off to a room, get off TikTok for 5 minutes and change her courses again, and then get back and do it. So it still gives that control, but we can change it anytime.
Sure.
And we can turn off that ability for caregivers to approve the courses, but no one does.
Yeah.
And we'll show costs on the summary for caregivers. And there's that override to allow students to indicate they're leaving to actually pick subjects. The course priority, some schools weirdly want to turn that off, but we want that on.
Yeah.
And this one is a bit of a gotcha. It's allowing students to pick a course that they're already timetabled for. Most schools have that off, because generally you're picking for next year. It's only if you're doing multi-level courses or things like that.
Yeah.
Show how many courses they need to select on the summary screen. Yeah, that's just the basic. You've picked 2 out of 6.
Yep.
And once they've picked all 6 courses, we do show a big complete button. Now, this complete button you can have on either after their main 6 or their 6 and their 2 backups, or as soon as they've picked any, or just hidden. It does nothing other than make them feel good. But before we had it, we were always getting queries from students and schools saying, I've picked my courses, now what? So what it does, they'll click it, it showers confetti over the screen, but it actually does nothing. So up to you.
Reduces the amount of emails in your inbox.
Yeah, exactly. And then we've got a little bit of logic, but if they do click that button, you can trigger an email to the caregivers to try and encourage them to get in there and make those approvals and those comments and have some visibility up front. So that is an option for you too, and you just customize that message.
Sure.
Okay, so that's basic settings. We'll go through it in more detail if you're looking at it more. Let's get into courses, and let's go back to let's stick with maths now. Anna, what subject do you teach?
Calculus.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
okay, so let's go 12 calculus. Perfect. MAC 201. So what we see, some student count, so you get visibility, the course name. And now when we've imported this from the markbook, everything's come through as the year level, then the course name. Now, if we just imported the course names, when the students look at it, they just see mathematics, 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 and numeracy. That's why the year level's there. Okay, so when we go in, we see here a % complete. That's a purely internal thing. So when it imports from Kmart, it comes through at 10%. Depending on how you're going to populate the data, if it's an admin person or if it's the HOD, this is a really good tool to sort of indicate where you're at. Because if it's HOD, Let's
Yeah.
get into there. We've got some pre-labeled descriptions on that one. So some schools will get someone in the admin department to go through and copy and paste all the course descriptors, do the manual grunt work. And then they might move it as they do it. They might do half a course, write home time, go home, come back. That's the course I was at. Once they've done it, they might mark it to 60%, and then it's ready for Anna to go and check her courses. She just looks through her list, anything at 60%, she will go then and edit and check. Same deal, Anna's right, it's 5 o'clock, time for wine. I'm gonna mark it at 70%, go home, come back to it tomorrow. And then once she's done, she might mark it as checked by head of department, or however you want to do that. You can change the labels on all these percentages. Then you two, you're overseeing the whole area. Then you know, right, everything at 80% has been checked by the heads of department. I'm going to come through, check it. And the aim is by the second week of term 2, term 3 holidays, everything's checked off, signed off, ready to go. Purely internal. I'm going to mark this one at 40% so we know we've been playing with it. Okay, and we can now customize everything. So we can call this maths with calculus, or whatever you like. The idea is to name it as appropriate as possible, so when students are looking in the list, they know what it is they're looking at. But they're probably clever and they can figure that out, that calculus is maths with calculus. Okay, the code that goes into Kmart, you can change this at any point until we sync that data back to Kmart. So if you're gonna sync it back on the 4th week of August, at the end of August, they've all done their selections, and then you think, right, hold on, we're gonna change all our codes to be 201 MAC now. You can do it at that point, even after all of your students have picked it, won't affect it.
Nice.
Okay, so we indicate here which year level it's available for. Now, this is only used on what we call our sites option. Let me see if I can find an example. It's an add-on where basically, I think it's that as a school, sites, maybe they've got that turned off. Sites, remember, try that one. Oh, right, you can set up more like a marketing site. So the school stopped having open days, and now they put it together in sort of a subsite that all comes together. And I think it is Study Path, and it creates this big page. So this basically gets every course, sticks it onto one page, and this is the year level. So I'd go down to maths. Oh, here we go. I can read my descriptor about going into year 12. I can read my maths descriptor, which I'll talk about. And in here would be maths with calc. There we go. So as a student, I can see every course bit of information from one screen. It's a cheap add-on, but it's a really good way to have just one screen with all the information. And if they're logged in, they can pick right from here. Traditionally, you would go this way, which I will show you on yours, where they come to here. Here's a list of our learning areas, and I'll go into mathematics, and I'll read my description about mathematics. So this is Anna selling her department here, or Damien in this case. I'm not logged on, so I can see, and in fact, at any time, I can see all the courses you've got active in maths. But if I was logged on and was a level 1 student, it would highlight at the top here, just the 3 maths courses that I can pick. But if you had a prereq on maths with calc at level 2, to say I must have done 11 maths, not 11 supported maths, then it wouldn't show there. So that's why the prerequisites can come in handy in those situations. Languages are a great example where you could add them and then the students request an exemption. So it's 2 different ways. Then when we go into our maths with calc, it shows me my description. I've got all my things, my term breakdown, which I'll come to, my soft prerequisites or your recommendations. You should understand this and know what an MCAT graph is and sort of things Anna dream about, but I am horrified by. And you get all of this. You can then see, right, if I take Calculus 2, it leads on to these courses and it's interactive. So I can find my Calculus 3 and click it to get through to it.
Right.
Looking at a year 9 maths course, that will be a really big chart because I can see I go 9, 10, 11. There's my math with calc there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got this all pretty much set up within our website.
Right.
And
So
what we do is we don't, in the past, so we haven't allowed the students, so we put the information out, the kids understand what they need to do, and then we don't turn on the ability to select the courses in Kmart for the first couple of weeks, so that they're being forced to go and read about their courses in Kmart on the website.
Yeah.
And we've got same sort of thing. We've got the courses in each learning area, and you can click on the hyperlink and it takes you to the course description, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So with this facility, we could still have this sort of information, i.e. the courses and the pathways available, but not actually allow them to select courses yet.
Yeah,
Is that right?
exactly. So
yeah.
if
We don't want
if
to
I
jump
log
into
on as
selecting.
if I log on as any student apart from a year 11 at the moment, I can't pick courses. So can't get to your website, that might be me. So at Tauranga Boys, they use this as a current course outline as well as an outline for what I'm going to pick next year.
Okay, yeah.
Because so the students that are currently in here can come and they can see this term breakdown. Yeah. And so it's rather than printing out a course outline and giving each boy an A4 bit at the start of each year, they just come to here. They know they've picked it. There's a screen here that shows them based on the timetable live from Kmart. Here are my courses, and here are the bits around it.
Nice. One of the things I was planning to do this year, had we stayed with the Kmart approach, was adding to our website. When we talk about course description for the following year for them to choose, we provide a bit of detail what the course is about, but I purposely do not mention how many credits are in the courses, for example, because I don't want students choosing courses based on credits. I want them choosing the courses for the right reason. However, compromising potentially for next year is that I could put, the assessment statements that came out of Kmart.
Yep.
Those course summaries. We use those heavily here. I was thinking that what I could do as a compromise so that kids can get a sense of the structure of the course that they may be getting themselves into is using the present year assessment statements attached to the descriptor for that course for next year, with a proviso to say, look, the course is likely to be the same. This is what it is this year. This gives you a bit of an idea. The chances are there could be some slight tweaks, but at least you can sort of see how it's split, externally versus internally, the names of the standards you're taking. So how could I attach, so those are just PDFs, right, that we get out of Kmart for those assessment statements.
Yeah.
How could I attach, say, like a PDF into
so
this range?
Yeah, when you're setting up your description in here, you can put whatever you want in here. So you just link to that. That's an option. Now, we can, based on your current MacBook, automatically link in these standards.
Ah, I see. So that's the same information sort of style.
Same information. So if I go down to here, you've got a whole bunch of things. We can indicate which year levels can pick it, where they can pick it as one of their main choices or backup or only or exemption only, or just in the system for information only.
Yeah.
You can indicate if it takes up one of their 6 spots, or, this might be, say, you might have a hospitality course, which actually takes up 2 timetable lines. So you can do that within here.
Yeah.
You can indicate whether they can select the course more than once. We could say, right, the teacher of this 2 calculus class is really cool, really high on demand, and we always get lots of students trying to get into it. But we can only timetable it for one because she's got other classes and timetabling responsibilities and everything else. So we put a hard cap of 25 students on here. Once it hits that, it becomes that exemption waiting list. So you can have a hard cap around the requirement. Make it compulsory for all of our level 1 students by doing that. Now it's compulsory. We can do rules on gender, which has only been used in a couple of Christian schools. We can do exclusions. So we've got your timetable here. So I can find MAC level 1 Mac, Maths with Calc, I guess. Yeah. And we say this is compulsory for all students. And like, for example, your level 1 Maths might be compulsory, but you've got a 10 accelerate class already doing level 1 Maths. So you'd say, right, it's that line there. That means this is now compulsory for every student, all your other math classes, apart from this one. Yeah. Now that means you're going to miss out on a maths class, But what we can do in our learning areas is we can go down to here. And in fact, I've done this probably while showing Jamie a year ago, is we can set minimums and maximum rules on the learning area. So this says here, weirdly, they've got to pick 2 maths class, any 2 year 12, so level 2, so current year 11s, any 2 level 2 maths classes, and only 2. So we've got a minimum and maximum on there that they've got to pick maths classes, but it doesn't matter which classes, if that makes sense. So that means...
So spinning that on its head, the way, so they have English and maths compulsory in year 11, 10s coming into 11.
Yeah.
And we operate on the semester basis for our 9s, 10s, and 11s. So the 6-line timetable. So therefore, there's 12 semester courses to select for year 11s. But they have to do a whole year of English and a whole year of maths, so 2 and 2. But the way we designed it this year was that you've got to choose one from this group of English courses and one from another group of English courses, because we didn't want a mismatch of the courses floating around the year, because it was important, just the way the English program is set up. Doesn't matter which of these 3 courses you choose, you're going to be doing, by the end of the first half of the year, you would have covered, I don't know, the reading skills we're hopeful for you to learn. And then the second half, you'll choose one of these 3 English courses, because we're going to be focusing more on the writing aspect, for example. So we can get them to do that. So apart from setting the number of English and maths courses they must take, we can also say it's got to be from one from this group and one from this group.
Yeah, exactly. So what we do there is we'd have our overall mathematics or English department or learning area with a minimum of 2. And then we would have a stream 1 or a semester 1 math or English department and a semester 2. And then your courses, your semester 1 would sit in that one and the main, and then your semester 2 would sit in their one and the main. So they would each have a minimum of or maximum of 1, but an overall maximum of 2. So they've got to pick 1 from each. And we do that, like junior options, really common. You must pick a language and you must pick an art and a digitech. But if you pick Te it's a full year course. But if you pick Japanese or French, they're half year courses. So you've got to pick 2. So you can absolutely handle any type of rule with both sections.
I guess one of the biggest frustrations I've had is trying to accommodate our students who maybe they're at either end of the spectrum, whereby they might be doing more advanced courses than the rest of their cohort. Or maybe their kids are just taking a wee bit longer to work through our curriculum. So maybe they're doing a couple of courses that maybe are a year behind their cohort. And being able for them to go in and choose the subjects that, as I say, cross the span of a number of years. But not making it ridiculous in terms of the list of courses they can choose from. What we've had to do in the past is going, if you're one of those kids, you're going to fill in the form by hand on a piece of paper, because otherwise you're going to have hundreds of courses in front of you to choose from, all the year 11 courses, all the year 12 courses, for example. And then you're going, that's going to confuse the hell out of them, because everyone will be able to see it. Every year 11, but it's only going to be applicable to a small number of kids who are interested in choosing some year 12 courses. So accommodating those non-typical kids is really what I'm looking for too, because I've never been able to crack that.
Yeah, gotcha. So we've had that same scenario. So some schools here, you've got your current year level and they do that. But that means now that every year 12 can choose to reset calculus, or every year 11 can see. So that list of courses they can pick gets huge. So I don't recommend that. Just use what we call the exemption request. And what that does is that then shows against the student when we're coming to look. So again, I'm going to go to my test example. When we're having a conversation with the student, we can see what courses they've picked. We can see what exemptions they've requested. If we're the head of English, so let's go into, here's maths and my test. We can see here the students that have picked it. And we can then go in and we can then move or remove those selections. So if this was this is a required course, but Harry here, he's clever and he's already doing it. And I didn't put a rule in that for whatever reason. I just go in based on my permissions and move him to the appropriate course, level 1 today. So you've got that. And the student gets notified, the teacher gets notified, it shows in his log and just switches out, and it's really easy.
Nice.
So once I do that one, you've got to enter a note here. So that everyone gets notified, he drops out of here. But when I look at Harry's record here, Aiken, and courses, we can see that he was in that and he's been removed with this reason, and now he's in the Tudara class. So everything is logged and visible, and he's locked. So that means because you've made the action as a staff member, he can't go back and change it, just like if the caregiver had approved it.
Right.
Now, what's quite cool, another way of handling that is, as an admin, you've got this add. So you can add those select students into any course. So he's a year, whatever he is, 10, year 10. So using that add button, you could add him into level 1 courses he didn't meet the rules for, level 2 courses, level 3 courses, year 9 courses, any course, even courses that are disabled in the system. You can see, you can have a course that's not turned on for selection, but in here, and I pop him in there, and then head right into Kamo into that course. So you can be really overriding with that. But have we still got, are we still logged on as a student? Here we go. So when the student's looking at here, courses for me, so this one looks at all the rules to find out what they can have. So I don't want this one. They can look into this one. We've got rules. So this says I must pick a science and a trade before I can pick more courses. So that means with those learning areas with the minimum rules, they've got to fill those first. So there's no escaping that. So I'll go, I can see, okay, right, I'm going to, weirdly, I've got art and painting in mind, select. It's that easy. I've filled that rule. And that actually looks like it was in both of those learning areas. So I can move on to my next one. But when I get a course that I can't pick, so business studies, lots of videos, applied maths, I can't. So those border cases, the ones that are going to reset a course or skip a level, I then go and I am really, really clever. Oops, obviously. You can see that. Then, because I'm logged in as admin, I can see this. When the head of, I'm in the wrong, maths applied. When whoever, you, so as an admin, you've got a list of all the exemptions, or the head of maths applied can come into that course, see who selected their courses, who's favorited their courses. So during, we talked earlier about that window where course selection's off, but you want them to go and look. They can come and favorite courses, and then they can go and they can make their list of courses that they want to take. Like that school I talked about where the boys go in and favorite their courses, make that short list, and then the caregivers go pick from this or from whatever they want them to do. So students can come in that pre-work and plan, but they can see that exemption request. They can see what all the details around the student, what other selections they've made. Yep, good, and go ahead and accept it. And that's just going to straight away add that record into 10 characters or more into that record, and then that's dropped off. And now we can see Harry, his exemption request has been added. Oh, it wasn't Harry, it was someone else.
Yep.
Joy,
okay.
I think. But you can see every log.
When, say, the heads of department are entering their sort of description component of their course, at the moment, the way that I manage it is that there's sort of like a bit of a template that I want them to all list information under these 5 categories. So that means you go into any course description and it's the same thing, it's a university approved course, yes or no. Is there a recommendation, yes or no? A course outline, who do they contact for further queries? So everyone, the format of every description is exactly the same, and staff have to enter something under each category. So there's consistency for the way that we're presenting information to the students. We can set that sort of consistency when they're setting up that information.
Yes and no, not quite like that. So I'm just going to go and
if you choose any one of our courses.
So here we go. So I thought I went into maths. Maths for life. Here we go. So
see those headings that we have, that everyone has those headings.
Right. So what we've got is things like that. So let's go and use this as an example. You've got things like approximate cost, none, technology requirements we don't have, entry requirements. So let's go here. So when we're setting up a course, we've got set fields. So the year levels that can pick it, the number of that, the rules. If if you are currently studying this, you can or can't pick it. If you've already picked this, you can or can't pick it. Whether they've got to enter notes on when they pick it, why they want to pick it as a requirement or an option.
Okay.
But when it goes back into KMAR, where is it going to go? For semester courses, so you can do that there. We talked about the lines, so this is a level 2, you're going to run it in there with this person, except, look at that. And so you can do that. We're adding curriculum strands, so for those cross-curricular courses, this covers this and this, and eventually you'd have rules to say, right, I must pick, out of my courses, I must cover every strand twice type thing. That interactive pathway map. So Anna, what does, is there a level 3 calc? Okay, great.
Yes.
I just picked the next course. Does calculus lead on to anything else at level 3?
Scholarship.
SCHOL. That scholarship, or it may not be important in the system. And then
it's a course.
Okay, and then you can do a descriptor. And I'll save this so we can see. So here's your outline. So I'm just going to go and steal this one from Tauranga Boys, because I didn't find that on your site. Okay, then we've got our recommended prior learning, and these labels are customizable. So I'll find your course entry requirements and paste. Then you've got, again, your costs, so nil or none. But if you leave that blank, that section won't show. So it's up to you there. You can either do a text-based cost, or you can actually do a table-based.
Okay.
Booklets, contributional, $20, and then do it that way. You've got the option for your term breakdowns or for your semesters, you can do that. And if you only fill out semester C, only semester C would show. So it is broken down like that. You can then choose to link to careers. So by doing that, we've got a whole bunch of things that may or may not be relevant. Accountant, auditor, accountant. So here we go, that'll do. And I'll show you why, and then we'll just copy that. So those standards, we can choose to import them from your markbook, or it's really easy to add and maintain them. So when we're doing that, we just type in standard number, enter, next number, enter, next number, enter. So it's easy.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, nice. To the point that maybe because your image might be in the way of the corner of that information, but is there the UE literacy, and is that a column, a literacy column?
Yeah, so if we look at Tauranga Boys, you can, I think, drag my head out the way. If we look at Tauranga Boys here, we see the standard, we link to NZQA, we've got the description, the level, internal, external, number of credits, and literacy, numeracy, all the new information and numeracy as well.
Nice.
We will also indicate, now this is a level 2 course, so there shouldn't be any, but on the level 3 ones, the ones that meet the UE entrance requirements against them.
Really?
And, and as an option, so once we've saved this, now this is something that some schools do, because we've got a built-in assessment calendar. You can do what Tauranga Boys do, is now that I've added these, you can extend the description. So you can actually extend on what that is. Each month we get a new file of data from the ministry, and your customization will stay, but everything else will show. You can indicate if it leads on to further assessment opportunity, or take that off, or if it's optional. And you can say, well, Anna, I'm going to assess this. It's an internal, so we're going to add one assessment in term 3, week 5, and the other one at after sports week down there. So by doing that, we can now show this to the students. So when they pick their courses, they get an idea of when the assessments will be for this. What that can form at the start of each year is the whole assessment calendar system.
Right.
So it then becomes live for students, and then you fine tune it. So if I was to go term 3, week 7, I think I added, and I'll pick that date. Oh, let's just pick any old date. We might have the whole week or a date range. This becomes a template each year, so you're not starting from scratch. Let's pretend that's going to be an assignment, and we've got our standard in there, assignment due, and then we go and we tag it to, what's your course code, Anna?
MIC.
MAC 201, and I'm going to take a stab that this is your class with the AKA staff code. So by creating this, it's creating an assessment just for Anna's class on line 3 for those students. So it all ties together with the course selection process, is the long story short that I'm trying to tell you. But it's purely optional. I've broken that, so MAC 201, 201. And then if you decide, right, we're no longer going to offer that standard next year, you just come down to here and you could delete that off. You can, here, this is custom note at the top, I think. And you can add Cambridge papers for those schools. You can show if this is endorsed, if it's UE approved, or you can hide our automatic one if you're not offering it for that. So now I've ruined this course for you. Let's go and have a look. So I want to preview this. So now I'm going to go in this tab to courses, and I'm in your data. I go into mathematics, I go into 12 calculus, and we can start to see our course description. I'm not logged on, so I can't pick it. I can see it's in mathematics. Those junior ones might be in English and English semester A. My recommended prior learning, again, we can customize the heading, my costs, my pathway, my text-based pathway, my jobs in there. And I know a DP that he goes and adds secondary school teacher as the first job on every single course. He's a good guy. That assessment information specific. Oh no, he does. They do actually. In fairness, they use the system really well. But assessment information there that relevant to this course. So it might be, you know, the assessments below. It might be that blurb around the assessments below. Blah blah blah. We can see that standard. We can see our extended description. The assessments for this one. This one does not offer further assessment. And this one is optional, and our vocational pathway or pathway information tied to the standard. So with a few clicks, we can add all that information that you've got on your assessment statements. And a lot of schools are actually not doing that in KMA so much anymore and just maintaining this and using this as the current workbook because it ties in with all of that.
Tell me, now, with the pathways, with the vocational pathways indicators here, is that an option to have that not appear?
I feel like that is an option. It's been many years since I've looked at that, but my brain is telling me yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
That information is also changing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So we tend not to focus on it too much here.
Yeah. Gotcha. So what you see here with the career pathways that I linked is I can go through and I can click on to any of these. So I really want to be a finance manager. So I can browse your courses and I can find, oh, this leads on to the job that I want. And I can click that and I can find all this information that your careers person doesn't have to add because we automatically add all that for you. But what I can do here is I can see all the courses that relate to this job. So there are two entry points. One is coming in through your learning areas and one is coming in through the job search. So I could type in here, financial advisor, I forget what it was, and it brings me up that information, and it wasn't that one. So it was administrator oops, can't spell, can't remember what it was called, accountant.
So what's the source of this information?
Careers NZ.
Okay.
So what I can do is I can search the job, that I want, and then it tells me, right, you're a level 1 student, these are the courses you should pick. So it's creating this circle of, you'll get those students that know the courses via the learning area and those courses that just want to be a fencing contractor or an accountant or whatever. And then they can go through.
Or a maths teacher.
Or a maths teacher. Yeah, that we stacked to that one. And then they can come into that same course. So
tell me more about, you talked about it could work out if it's a UE approved course once you've loaded the standards in, because Kmart doesn't do that. Well, I've been bleating onto NCQA for friggin' years about, surely there's a way of monitoring UE progress within a UE approved course.
Let's go and find our 13 calc. Calc. Yeah. Here we go. View. And now, Anna, you don't teach 13 calc, or you do?
No.
Okay. We need to know a standard there. So let's see if they teach that at Tauranga Boys. Let's see what standards we've got. Maths with calc. Oh, well, let's see if we've got any yellow asterisks here. Nope. Oh, yes. Here we do over here. So we see here that these yellow asterisks, which you might be able to see on the screen share, those are the ones that indicate that they lead towards UE entrance. And then we automatically show this blurb here below it, based on this statement that you can customize based on the data we get each month from the ministry. Now, can Kmart get that exact file because we're on a shared email? So they can do it, but they just don't.
So, okay, so there's 24 credits overall on that course.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually state how many are UE approved credits.
Of those,
I'd have to go and add up manually those yellow asterisk standards.
No, that 24 are the UE approved ones. So if there were,
okay, so all 24. All right.
Yeah, okay. All 24 on this one. If there were other standards on here that didn't, they wouldn't have that yellow indicator and would not be counted in that.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Understand. Yeah.
So
therefore, at the top, you could have let's say one of those standards wasn't. You'd still have your total credits as 24, but at the bottom, it would say the total UE credits is only 20, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, because at the moment, we're doing all that manually every year with our year 13s. Freaking does my head in.
I gotcha. So if I go back into my maths with calc now, I'm going to add one level 3 standard because Anna's teaching some clever cookies there. Sure. Now, when we view that, if I find the right tab, probably this one, we will now have our statement. I didn't save that, or I didn't add that.
There was a yellow asterisk there, I saw.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, at the bottom.
Right. But it didn't. Oh, right. It will only, from memory, I think it only shows it once it gets to 14 credits.
I see. Right. Yeah.
Which is so helpful.
Yeah. So we have a situation where in level 2, general maths, MAT, you can do a level 3 standard. Mm-hmm. And that level 3 standard counts towards UE for the following year. So then when we go into our level 3 course, we do slightly fewer credits in that course because their level 2 result plus the year 13 credits will total over 14.
Yeah.
So is it smart enough to go, hey, if you do this level 3 course and you've got the level 2 standard, the level 3 standard from the previous year, that overall this is a UE approved course? I mean, that's a pretty unique situation that we have.
That might, I don't know, we'd have to go and trial that one to see. But what we do in this tool is we go and count that into here. So this tool goes through and brings through everything there and entered in for, which doesn't look like we're getting the data, or at least not in this found set, and works out whether they've got level 2 or 3, including those carryover based on that. This doesn't affect course selection. This is more for tracking on your side around how they're progressing.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Okay.
But you add that in, and you could potentially add that as you saw the flag on there around optional. So not everyone might do that level 3 standard in that level 2 course.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, this is good. This is answering a lot of the wish list items we've had in the past that we weren't able to do through Kmart.
Yeah. So yeah,
there's a hell of a lot more.
effectively, yeah, that's the idea. Is Kmart's works well and it's simplistic, and we're the next step up in terms of that. Got all the linking around it, all the information around it. You've got all your different bits around it.
It's taken me about 5 years to get our website in terms of our course selection our course selection area of our website sorted, so it's all standardized that kids can go in and look at stuff, blah 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 blah, and pathways are in there and hyperlinks, and it's cost us a bit of money, but we finally got there. I can see now this is going to be redundant.
Well, it's not. I mean, the great thing is you don't need all of this in here day one. So you could still have this, and then at the bottom, go click here to view, and then have a link to that course in our system. It would still mean you've got to come back and edit every single course here, and that would mean it's a transition. So once you get to you could migrate a whole learning area and then change the link over. Up to you on how you want to do that. Yeah, because
if you go to the pathways option, there's when you click on our student learning tab, and then there's courses. There's what we call pathways. There should be a pathways option. No, maybe we've got to go back one more step. Maybe
from the drop down here.
Yeah, from there, the pathways. Yeah. You click on that.
Oh yeah. So that's effectively your learning areas or your grouping.
Yeah, those are our learning areas, and then
click on
All right. No, sorry, actually wrong tab. So that's one that you've got covered, right? So that's showing the pathways. But sorry, we go back. Sorry, I've forgotten the actual name of it. With the bloody hell. Oh, the course planning chart. Sorry. Yeah, this one here. Yeah. Sorry. So you can see.
So that's effectively.
Yeah,
like
and there's the hyperlinks to all the course descriptions that are on the website. So that's similar to what you're showing us, right? I mean, that's the guts of it. If we were migrating and they say transitioning, as long as we could link back to this, then the kids can then just click and then it takes them straight into the course description and away we go.
Yeah. So these are all links to the pages within it. So eventually you could make these link through or add a second link against each one for the selection, information selection. Yeah,
right. Yeah. Because I say it took me quite a few years to get to this stage, and now I can sort of see we're just going to migrate it. But that's good. That's good. I like the versatility of what you've shown us. It's meeting a lot of our needs that we've never had solved before. So we've sort of always been in a situation where course selection runs okay, but it could be better.
Improved. What have you built this in? Like, this is part of your site. Do you have a log on for the admin?
Yeah. So this was set up by Plato. So they designed our website and they've set all this up for us.
Oh yeah, because they might be able to export this data out.
Oh, okay.
And then we could import that in for you based on the course codes.
Interesting.
So if you're thinking about it, that would definitely, that would be something I'd do for because we build websites for schools, and we've had schools that have gone on the website and set this sort of thing up, and then I've come back after we've realized and said, well, we've got this, and then we've gone and exported that out and re-imported that in. So if you can export it, or you have it in some sort of spreadsheet format, or could get it there, we could potentially save some time. So
because this really doesn't change a hell of a lot from year to year.
Yeah.
Right. And even the course description through the hyperlinks, there's not massive change from year to year because where we've got to over the last few years.
Yeah.
So, okay, right, good to know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Same within here. We've had schools that have used this for almost 10 years, or in fact, more than 10 years now. And it's just a matter of fine-tuning information. So the first year or two, it's what feels like a mammoth task. But every other year, it's an hour for each head of department to go through, double check it, add some standards, remove some standards, type thing.
Yeah.
And then we add more functionality. You name it, in terms of graphing and charting. We can show you what's a good one to look at. we can set up automations. So if a student picks this course, trigger this email to this person, or start a student form. Like we've got you might have a gateway course. And if they pick a gateway course, start a student form in the permission slips area for them. So there's lots of things you can do like that. You can say, I want to show me all the students in year 12 that have selected, and show me their selected courses. And of course, there won't be any, or show me their returning status. Or then once you get that, you can filter it based on, I want to see all the ones that pick level 2 calc that are already doing level 1 calc. So you can do all that within the system. And there are a ton of reports and time-saving tools and things like that.
Nice. Okay. So considering our involvement with you guys at the moment, if we were to start using this, is there a cost beyond the contract we have with you at the moment?
I would have to check whether you're on the contract for both or not. I'll find out and throw you an email.
Thank you.
You may already have both. I'm not sure. But if you do go for that, it gives you everything within this part of the platform. So parent-teacher conferences, assessment calendars, course selection, etc.
Right.
Careers tools. The conferences are really good because, in fact, you've used this already. So either you're paying for it or you're getting it for free. So that's handy. But you can, let's say you're having a subject-based conference. You just come in, test, select your date. So we're going to go Tuesday the 19th. We're going to do it based on our timetable. We're going to make it that either residents can book. You're a Google or Microsoft school, aren't you?
Microsoft school, yeah.
So you can have Microsoft Teams video calls or physical. Each meeting might be whatever minutes. Let's just go 20, and all sorts of options around that. And when we set that up, we want our first one to be at 11, and we're going to go all the way till 3, and everyone can have a lunch break, and you can modify all that. But what you'll see is we automatically bring through all the staff and all their classes. So when a caregiver comes in, they just go in and they know, and we know automatically, right, my student is in this class, I can book with this teacher, and my 6 teachers show up automatically. For your options, you just go in here and let's go and go. Looks like your tutor classes might be LINC.
Yep.
You can just go and exclude all your tutor classes. So it's easy.
Nice.
Or you do it the other way around and you'd include all your tutor classes and just have tutor conferences.
Got it.
Or exclude all your 81 Bs and Cs for your second half of the year. So you've got, it's really easy. Then let's go on to here. I've got to remember, we throw it onto proofing, and then all your staff can see it, but your students and caregivers can't. So they can check, have you given them breaks? Can they set their own breaks? And then once it's published, let's just go ahead and I'll show you the student cycles. We haven't done that yet. Let's pick a random year 12 here. Right, we've got Sophie Shea. Log on here as Angela in an incognito window, and we see that conference has come up. In fact, the last one's still open from 7 months ago, but our test ones come up here, and straight away, so you can see the subjects and the teachers, and it's easy, and they just go pick their times and bang. So I'm just going to go ahead here and turn off this one. Delete that out. And that one was a teacher conference. So that might have been the same way. So I hope you're already paying for the system. Or whether it was ever actually used.
I've stuffed up our cover now. Done.
So I'll find you one way or the other. So now I've turned those off. And when the teacher comes back, or the caregiver comes back in their Auntie, on the day before, you put it onto what we call view only mode, so they can see all the bookings, they can see the notes they've written. They just can't see, they can't make changes to those times, rather. And you get all the stats on who attended, who didn't attend, everything you need like that. So it's really comprehensive like that.
All right. Well, if you were able to send us an email to confirm that we have access to the course counselling tool or not, or if there's going to be a cost, because I think we need to get onto this pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think it's a no-brainer for us.
Yep, I'll confirm that today.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Anna.
Do we have the ability to play around on the site like you just did?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in here, so let's check your permissions. So Anna, to start with, this one here, you. So you're a full administrator, Anna. You can see and do everything that I'm doing now. You
Okay.
can see here on individual staff, this is where you go in, and if you were only to edit the math group, you'd go there and we'd assign you to the head of department permission group, which I'll have a look at how that's set up, but that doesn't matter. And let's check you, Tony. There we go. You are SLT teachers and timetablers, so
Yeah.
not as privileged user as Anna, but probably
Right.
enough.
Yeah, I don't earn the big bucks, you see.
Yeah. So let's see what.
Where did the money go?
Oh, I can just toggle that one. So you can get into all the reports. You can manage a whole bunch of things.
Oh,
Yeah, it
okay.
looks like you can do all the course editing. So next time you're on your dashboard, you'll have the SchoolPoint. You can get in there and have a click and have a play around, and then go
That's
from there.
right. That's
Nice.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really
you-
appreciate your time, John.
Thank you so much. Gosh, so
Pleasure.
helpful.
Yeah.
All
Really
right,
user friendly.
I'll send you this recording. I'll find out if you're paying for it or not. I'm sure you are. And then if you want to go forward, just let me know. And if you do want to, and you get an export from your web provider, throw that through to me. What they call an SQL dump or an export or something, or give them our details and get them to reach out directly.
Understand. Perfect.
Thanks
All
so
right.
much,
All right.
Sheldon.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sheldon. Cheers for your time.
I'll talk to you both soon. Thank you.